We're here today with Kayden Moore and Paxton Call. They both race in Groveton. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paxton has some questions to ask Kayden. And then I have a question to ask both of them.
So, how old are you now, and when did you start racing?
I'm 8 now, almost 9, and when I started racing, I was 4.
What made you decide you wanted to race?
I don't really know.
What divisions do you currently race at the dirt side?
I race 125 max quad, 50 max quad, 58 to 9 race bike, and then 50 to 70 non-race bike.
You won a championship this year. What was it like?
It was kind of like hype.
What is your favorite part about racing at the dirt side?
That like once I'm done, that like everybody knows me there, and like I have a lot of friends there.
Now, these next questions come from Chad. What do you look up to on the track and why?
I look up to Vinnie Mofford because he's one of the fastest guys I know out there.
What are your goals for 2024?
To win a championship in my 50 modified for my quad cross series.
What is your favorite part about being at the races when you are not on the track?
Hanging out with friends.
What do they call you, the mayor?
Because like everybody knows me.
Do you want to go pro someday?
Yes.
And then these questions are from Chris. What do you like to do when you are not racing?
Hang out with friends.
These questions are from Shannon. What do you like to race more, quads or dirt bikes?
I like them both equal.
And I have a question that was sent in for both of you from Jack Call. The question is, what is one big life lesson that you have learned from racing that will help you in your everyday life, and who did you learn that lesson from?
Not looking back, and I learned it from myself and a lot of other pros.
I don't know, definitely one big thing I learned was like racing with respect and how far it goes. And I don't know, kind of like listening to people to see how far you can come. Like I raced dwarf cars 4 years ago and like would never really think I'd go far with it. And like there's a few people that I've talked to in like the past racing years, and they've definitely got me like very far in racing career, and there's definitely some inspiration that have come a long way with that too.
How old are you now, and how old were you when you started racing?
So I'm 17 now, and I started racing snow machines when I was 2, and I also raced go-karts at the age of 4 on the big track at Riverside Speedway.
And what was it that made you decide you wanted to race?
Well, my dad kind of got me into it, and then he made this promise: if I won 9 races in a go-kart in a row, then I'd get a dwarf car. And he gave me 2 options. He said, you got either to race a dwarf car or a go-kart. What do you want to choose? So I ended up choosing a dwarf car because it was like my dream car to race when I was a kid.
And you won a championship this year.
I did, yes.
So why don't you tell me how that felt and what it took to get there?
Well, it felt pretty good to get the championship. And then, I don't know, definitely took a lot of work because in like the first race that I had, I totaled my car and got it back on the track during practice. So, I don't know, kind of crazy that I got a top 3 from that.
And do you know how many points you won the championship by? Was it a lot? Was it?
I think I beat Brad Sanborn by like 3 points.
And what is your favorite part about racing at Riverside Speedway?
Definitely the adrenaline that it gives you, because it's such a small track, but it's so fast, and everyone says it's the fastest quarter mile that they've raced.
Questions from Chad. We'll we'll rephrase these a little bit so they fit more to what you do, but who do you look up to on the track and why?
Rod Dredgecombe is probably one of the biggest guys I look up to on the track.
What are your goals for 2024?
Definitely to get another championship, and I mean, if I can't, worst case scenario, I'll get second. But
What is your favorite part about being at the racetrack when you're not in the car?
definitely hanging out with the people you race against, because they're very fun. It's fun to talk smack about them when you're not racing.
The next question from Chris. What do you like to do when you are not racing?
When I'm not racing, I like working. I don't really like going to school, but I definitely like hanging out with friends and stuff. So
And what do you do for work?
I work at a restaurant.
So many different types of cars have you raced over your...
I've raced 3. I've raced a dwarf car. I tried a 4-cylinder one time, and that was it. But mainly I've raced go-karts,
And which one did you like more?
dwarf cars.
And Kayden, you have a question for Paxton.
What is it like? I heard you just talking about it, but what was it like when you hit the wall? Like, how panicked were you?
Well, it was definitely very frustrating to hit the wall, knowing that it was the first day of racing, and the car show was just over, and I really didn't want to have a totaled car, but we managed to get it back together and got top 3 that night, so it was pretty cool.
So I know I've seen a lot of videos either online or in person when it comes to people riding dirt bikes or racing them when they go off of a big jump. How scary is it knowing you're that high in the air and you're about to come down?
It depends on what quad I am on. If I'm on like my 90, it has like no suspension, so I'm like kind of scared when it goes down, cause I could like land and the back suspension, it doesn't have like no suspension, and it like barely goes down, so I could probably land and like it could probably kick me over the handlebars.
Kayden, you want to thank your sponsors?
I want to thank Nault's Power Sports, SSI, and Rob's Power Sports, Decker Training Facility, Joel Hetrick Racing, and Michelle for getting me a motor in like a week or 2. And that's it.
And Paxton, do you want to thank your sponsors?
I definitely have a lot of sponsors. North Country Ford, North Country Family Restaurant, Asphalt Paving. I got so many. Definitely, I got a new sponsor this year, and he was one of the biggest sponsors, which goes out to our Next Level Painting. He was a big help, and I have so many sponsors, I can't even think of them all.